Hello, welcome back to Real Opinions. This is Ben, and today's review is of Steven Soderbergh's semi-cheap thriller Unsane, which has been in the news a lot recently because of its strange little gimmick that Soderbergh decided to shoot the entire film on an iPhone 7 Plus. But it is worth noting from the offset that although the whole film is shot on an iPhone 7 Plus, he also used a couple of different lenses, and also they didn't kind of skimp on the sound or lighting, and the budget of the film was still $1.5 million, so it's not like it was like a micro budget project that anyone can shoot on an iPhone. Either way, it's still a really interesting film. I really liked it. I know it's been getting a bit back and forth in the press. Some people really like it, some people really hate it and really don't like the iPhone thing. And the iPhone image definitely takes a while to get used to. It's not kind of glossy by any means. It has a very kind of pulpy 90s TV thriller vibe to the visuals, which they lean into, and you do get used to it as the film goes on, and it looks a lot better in the dark than in the lighter moments. Any scenes shot outside don't come off particularly well. The scenes that are very professionally lit, and especially the scenes shot inside the mental institution where the film takes place, actually some of them come across looking very, very good. It's essentially a film about a woman who's recovering from being stalked. She goes to a mental institution to talk to a psychiatrist and ends up getting herself admitted and tries to get herself out of the mental institution. It gets a whole lot deeper than that. I won't go into spoiler territory here, especially in the third act, where things get significantly simpler than you'd expect. But I think it's where it really hits its stride. It moves away from the whole weird psychedelic stuff and kind of moves into something a bit more straightforward. And there it just kind of turns into this very well-written, very well-refined thriller. It's really clench-inducing in places, quite horrific. The sort of film where you find yourself shielding your eyes, but in the best way. It's very, very tense. As the film goes on and it gets darker aesthetically, you start to kind of lose the sense that it's shot on an iPhone and you care less. I think the iPhone thing does turn the film on its head a little bit in terms of the direction. There's a lot more kind of wide frames, and whereas before you would expect conversations to be shot as back and forths, Soderbergh kind of frames them all in one shot, which I think really works and does give the film this very different vibe. It means it does feel kind of cheap in places, but never to the point where it really feels like a student film. And he does some really interesting things with the deep focus of the iPhone as well. He kind of plays with that idea that you can kind of see things in the background as things kind of seep into Claire Foy's character's imagination, which takes me into Claire Foy's performance. She's really interesting in this film in the sense that this is kind of unlike any other character she's ever played, and she really nails it all the way through. There's never a point when you're confused by what's going on. There's never a point where she seems hysterical or kind of over the top. The whole thing is very, very grounded, and even if you're kind of not totally on board with the visuals and you can't get over the fact that it's shot on an iPhone, she is what will kind of bring more viewers in, I think. I think it is definitely worth seeing. It's not necessarily a film you have to see in the cinema, although I would still see it with an audience, because it is one of those films where if everyone's kind of locked into it in the same way that my audience were, you can feel the whole room clench and freak out at certain moments. Overall, big fan of Unsane. Maybe not necessarily the visuals, but in many places Soderbergh leans into the visuals quite well, and it does work. So it's a film that goes beyond a gimmick. I think it won't just always be remembered as the film that was shot on an iPhone. I think in terms of its script and in terms of its performances, it's worth far more praise than just that. Thank you for watching. As always, look out for more Real Opinions videos in the future, and goodbye.